Have you ever held a piece of plastic that felt like a magic wand? A small, shiny card that promised you the world? Hi, I'm Alex, and that's exactly how my first credit card felt to me. Picture this, fresh out of college, bright-eyed, and ready to conquer the world. I landed my first job in the city, and along with it came my initiation into the grown-up world, my very first credit card. It was no ordinary piece of plastic, it was a symbol of independence, a ticket to freedom, a key that unlocked doors to experiences I'd only dreamed about. I remember the day I got it, the way it gleamed under the fluorescent office lights. The embossed numbers, my name proudly displayed across the front, it seemed to whisper promises of endless possibilities. And I, young and naive, was all too eager to explore them. In the beginning, I was responsible. I used my card sparingly, only for necessities, dutifully paying off my balance every month. But as the months rolled by, the line between wants and needs began to blur. The convenience of swiping that card was intoxicating. Dinners at upscale restaurants, the latest tech gadgets, weekend getaways, my credit card became a passport to a lifestyle I otherwise couldn't afford. But as the saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. Behind the glamour and excitement, my debt was quietly snowballing. I was living in a bubble, blissfully ignorant of the ticking time bomb that was my credit card bill. It was a Tuesday, just an ordinary day in my life. I was at my favorite coffee shop, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. The barista flashed a smile as she handed over my usual caramel latte. I swiped my credit card without giving it a second thought, just like I'd done countless times before. But this time, something was different. The machine beeped, and the words "transaction declined" stared back at me from the screen. The barista tried again, but the result was the same. Embarrassed, I mumbled something about a bank error and rushed out, leaving my coffee behind. As I walked home, my mind was racing. How could this happen? I had always been so careful, or so I thought. I logged into my online banking when I got home, and what I saw took my breath away. My credit card was maxed out. Not just one, but all of them. The numbers on the screen seemed to blur together, forming a lump in my throat. I was in debt, and not just a little. I was buried under a mountain of it. It felt like the ground beneath me had shifted. The reality of my situation hit me hard. All the dinners, the gadgets, the vacations, they hadn't been free. I had been living a lie, buying temporary happiness on credit. And now the bill had come due. In that moment, I realized that my lifestyle was unsustainable. I was drowning in debt, and if I didn't do something about it soon, I would sink. It was a wake-up call, a harsh reminder of the consequence of my reckless spending. That was my moment of realization. The day I acknowledged the mess I was in, and the day I decided to turn things around. Little did I know, it was the beginning of a long, challenging journey towards financial freedom. Confronted with the harsh reality of my financial situation, I knew I had to take immediate action. Here are the steps I took to regain control over my spending. Track your spending. To understand where my money was going, I started tracking every dollar spent. I used a simple spreadsheet at first, but eventually moved to a budgeting app for convenience. This gave me a clear picture of my spending habits and helped identify areas where I was overspending. Create a budget. Armed with an understanding of my spending patterns, I created a realistic budget. I allocated funds for essentials like rent, utilities, and groceries first. Then I set aside a portion for debt repayment, and finally, a small amount for personal expenses and entertainment. Cut unnecessary expenses. This was one of the hardest parts. I had to give up many luxuries I was accustomed to. Eating out became a rare treat instead of a daily routine. I traded my expensive gym membership for home workouts. I started using public transportation instead of hailing a cab. It was a significant lifestyle change, but a necessary one. Use cash instead of credit cards. To prevent myself from accumulating more debt, I switched to using cash for all my purchases. It's much harder to part with physical money than swiping a card, and it helped me think twice before making unnecessary purchases. Establish an emergency fund. While paying off debt was my priority, I also started building an emergency fund. Even a small amount saved each month can provide a safety net for unexpected expenses. Educate yourself about personal finance. I started reading books, blogs, and listening to podcasts about personal finance. Understanding concepts like interest rates, credit scores, and investment strategies was empowering and helped me make more informed financial decisions. Taking these steps wasn't easy, but they were crucial in helping me regain control over my spending. It was a journey of self-discipline, sacrifice, and perseverance, but it was all worth it when I saw my debt start to decrease and my savings begin to grow. Once I had my spending under control, it was time to tackle the mammoth task of paying off my debt. It wasn't going to be easy, but I was determined to free myself from the clutches of financial stress. Here's how I went about it. List your debts. The first step was to list all my debts, including credit cards, student loans, and personal loans. I listed them in order of the interest rate, from highest to lowest. This gave me a clear picture of what I was dealing with. Choose a debt repayment plan. After researching different methods, I decided on the avalanche method of debt repayment. This meant I would pay off the debts with the highest interest rates first while making minimum payments on the rest. This method can save you a lot on interest payments in the long run. Negotiate interest rates. I took the bold step of calling my creditors to negotiate lower interest rates. To my surprise, some were willing to work with me. This reduced the amount of interest I had to pay and sped up my repayment process. Increase your income. To pay off my debt faster, I looked for ways to increase my income. I took on freelance projects, sold items I no longer needed, and even picked up a part-time job. Every extra dollar went towards my debt. Automate payments. To ensure I never missed a payment, I set up automatic payments for all my debts. This also helped me avoid late fees and further damage to my credit score. Stay committed. Paying off debt is a long process, and it's easy to lose motivation. But I stayed focused on my goal, celebrating small victories along the way to keep myself motivated. Paying off debt required immense discipline and perseverance. There were months when it seemed like I was making no progress at all. But slowly and steadily, I began to see the numbers go down. And with each passing month, my resolve to become debt-free grew stronger. Embarking on the journey to financial freedom was far from easy. I faced numerous challenges along the way, testing my resolve and patience. Here are some of the most significant hurdles I encountered. Lifestyle adjustment. The first and most obvious challenge was adjusting to a new lifestyle. Cutting back on luxuries and living within my means was a radical change. The switch from dining out to cooking at home, from shopping sprees to thoughtful purchases, was tough. Social pressure. There was considerable social pressure to maintain a certain lifestyle. Saying no to invitations for dinners, parties, or vacations was difficult. I had to explain my situation to my friends and family, and while most were understanding, I did feel left out at times. Unexpected expenses. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected expenses would crop up now and then. A sudden car repair or medical bill often threw my budget off track. These instances were stressful and sometimes slowed down my debt repayment plan. Income fluctuation. As I was doing freelance work to supplement my income, there were months when I earned less than anticipated. This inconsistency in income sometimes caused me to adjust my repayment plan. Maintaining motivation. The journey to becoming debt-free was long and arduous. There were moments of frustration and despair when progress seemed slow. Maintaining motivation during these times was a huge challenge. Balancing debt repayment and savings. Striking a balance between paying off debt and saving money was tricky. I wanted to throw every spare dollar at my debt, but I also knew the importance of having a safety net. Overcoming these challenges wasn't easy. It required resilience, determination, and a lot of self-discipline. But with each challenge I overcame, I grew stronger and more confident in my ability to manage my finances. The day I made my final debt payment was one of the most exhilarating moments of my life. It was a mixture of relief, pride, and a sense of accomplishment that washed over me. Relief, the constant worry and stress that had been my constant companions started to fade away. No more sleepless nights spent worrying about how to make ends meet, no more anxiety every time the phone rang, fearing it was another call from a creditor. The heavy burden that I had been carrying for years was finally lifted. I felt lighter, like I could breathe again. Pride, paying off my debt was a massive achievement. It was the result of years of hard work, sacrifice, and discipline. Looking back at the journey, I felt an immense sense of pride. I had taken control of my finances, faced the daunting task of debt repayment head-on, and emerged victorious. It was a testament to my determination and resilience. Accomplishment, completing this financial marathon gave me a sense of accomplishment. It was a tangible proof that I could set a difficult goal and achieve it. This experience taught me valuable lessons about money management, patience, and perseverance that will serve me well in the future. The moment I paid off my debt, I knew that I had turned a new page in my life. I was no longer defined by my financial mistakes. I had the freedom to make choices based on what was best for me and not what my debt dictated. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where I was in control of my financial destiny. Embarking on the journey to financial freedom and successfully paying off my debt taught me invaluable lessons. These are insights that I gained through real-life experience, both positive and negative. Here are the most significant lessons I learned. Understanding the value of money. Before this journey, I had a skewed perception of money. I saw it as a means to acquire things rather than a tool for building a secure future. The process of paying off my debt made me realize the true value of money and the importance of managing it wisely. Living within your means is crucial. One of the key lessons I learned was the importance of living within my means. Splurging on things I couldn't afford was what led me into debt in the first place. I learned to differentiate between wants and needs, which helped me control my spending. The importance of an emergency fund. Having an emergency fund is critical. Unexpected expenses can arise at any moment, and without a safety net, you could find yourself spiraling into debt. I learned that having a buffer can make a significant difference during tough times. Debt is not a solution. Before, I viewed credit cards and loans as easy solutions to financial problems. But this journey taught me that debt is often a temporary fix that can lead to bigger issues down the line. Patience and discipline are key. Paying off debt is not an overnight process. It requires patience, consistency, and discipline. This journey taught me the importance of these virtues not just in managing finances, but in all aspects of life. Financial literacy is essential. Understanding interest rates, loan terms, and budgeting techniques are not just for financial advisors. Financial literacy is a skill everyone should have. It empowers you to make informed decisions about your money. These lessons have significantly shaped my perspective on money and financial management. They are insights I will carry with me throughout my life, applying them to future financial decisions and sharing them with others who may be embarking on their own financial journey. Having walked the path of debt repayment and financial recovery, I would like to share some advice for those who find themselves in similar situations. Acknowledge the problem. The first step towards solving any issue is acknowledging it. Understand the extent of your debt, why you are in debt, and accept that you need to make changes. Create a budget. A budget is an essential tool in managing your finances. It helps you understand where your money is going, and where you can cut back. Stick to your budget and make adjustments as needed. Prioritize your debts. Not all debts are created equal. Prioritize your debts based on interest rates and pay off the ones with the highest rates first. This method, known as the avalanche method, can save you a lot of money in the long run. Build an emergency fund. As you pay off your debt, also work on building an emergency fund. This fund acts as a safety net for unexpected expenses and prevents you from falling back into debt. Seek professional help if needed. If you feel overwhelmed by your financial situation, don't hesitate to seek help. Credit counseling agencies can provide guidance and help you create a debt management plan. Stay consistent and patient. Paying off debt is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires consistency, patience, and discipline. Stay motivated and remember that every small step brings you closer to your goal. Educate yourself. Financial literacy is crucial in managing your money effectively. Educate yourself about interest rates, budgeting, investments, and retirement planning. The more you know, the better decisions you can make. Remember, being in debt is not a life sentence. With the right approach and mindset, you can overcome this challenge and regain control over your finances. You have the power to change your financial future.